Hello everybody, how's it going? How's everyone doing? Anything of new, anything of old, anything at all. What's up guys? And I am back after a unexpected 1 week off. Just a bunch of bullshit coming together at the same time. It happens, but we are back on track. So, yeah, actually, final stretch for this project, finally. We're gonna be playing around with the Ogre, the last model of the bunch. I think he will benefit from a little bit more brightness. Let me just adjust that real quick. Right on, a bit better. So yeah, this is the dude that we'll be working on this week. Should be fairly straightforward. We'll go over any specifics along the way, but there aren't really that many. Alright, so let's start off with the usual thorn in the side, which will be the eyes and the face as a whole. So might as well get on with it. As previously mentioned, the next project will be the Gears of War board game miniatures. And depending on how far I manage to get with this guy this week, we may actually start it off next Monday, but we'll see. Either next Monday or the Monday after that. We ought to be good for it. No reason to rush it. No reason to waste necessary time either. There were a few suggestions regarding tattoos on the dude. I think I'm gonna skip it, and instead I'm gonna do some stubble. On the beard, and the bald head is gonna be a shaved head. Stuff like that, really. Sadly, that might be a bit of a slowdown on the whole process, because the rest I've got pretty much worked out, but the stubble and the 5 o'clock shadows are things I'm not massively comfortable with. As a matter of fact, I only managed to pull it off once, and there was a lot of trial and error. So it's gonna be a little bit of a struggle, but I'll pull it off somehow. The problem is it's probably gonna take a wee bit of time. Feels like something's wrong with the light today. Alright, let's do this. Nope. Close, but not quite. There we go. Now bear in mind I will need to do some cleaning up, but yeah, that's good on the ice. Solid. Oof. Always a hard stop for that part. Now, I actually want to do the tongue. And to do that, I'm gonna take some red and some flesh stone. Mix them all up, because I don't really want them to be too... the red to be too prevalent. Maybe even wash it afterwards to further mute. Whole thing down. And put on a little bit more flash on the palette since we barely used today. I think that'll do. I'm not used to painting larger models, and while they are really fun, they do come along with some awkwardness. Mostly having to do with how to hold the damn thing. Okay, so maybe a tiny bit more red. Oh, you know what? Actually, this might be good enough, but we're going to put a wash of Carroburg Crimson, which is going to give it more redness, and it's going to dull down the color at the same time. Which ought to be good. Mm-hmm. Yeah, okay, I think that's a solid resounding yes. Good. Now we can go over to the teeth. We want to use our off-white. Just always screaming skull. Pretty heavy model, by the way. It is metal. Makes holding it a little bit difficult in awkward angles. There we go. And now, because this is an ogre, it's not supposed to be flawless in his dental hygiene, we are going to stain, and also to bring out, because he has actually almost each individual tooth is sculpted with detail. Want to bring that up a little bit, so we're gonna put some styrofoam sepia that we're gonna dilute additionally. I want just a little bit of a staining and detail separation on the individual teeth. That's not gonna be too strong. Shouldn't be, but let's check it out anyway. It's about alright. maybe a bit too strong. Let's give it a chance to dry and revisit it. Yeah, okay, so we're gonna bring back a little bit of the white though. A little bit too deep. Now, if it was a larger model, like an even larger model than this, then it would have been fine, but we do want this to be an actually visible detail, so I'm gonna bring these parts of it out. Alright, the edges. And the chompers. Sort of like a minuscule edge highlight. That'll probably do it. And for the lips, actually gonna use the concoction I made for the tongue that ended up not working out too great. Because it is fairly close to the original color, to the base color. Just gonna use that. Slightly emphasize and also use it to cover up any spill. Fairly noticeable, like spills are noticeable, the lips, I mean. There we go. Just a tiny bit of extra. I think I could have completely, very safely gone without it, but it's already on the palette. Why the hell not? It's probably gonna be lost of the shading and highlighting that's about to take place, but still. Alright, now for a few touch-ups that have been plaguing my existence. First of all, the eyes. That I just painted on. This, I need some help. To be slightly closed. Alright, there we go. And there are a few Things here on the chin. This is technically a little bit of a brighter color compared to the base color, since this is the base color with a wash. But I think it'll be fine. Also trying to keep a finger on the base all times, because like I said, the model is kind of heavy being metal, and I don't trust the white tack that much. You never know. We're gonna go through the standard process of highlighting and adding in the shadows, and we're gonna play around with the stubble. Is a thin glaze over the whole thing. Well, over the whole thing, over the chin and the chrome dome to make it a bit less chromy and domey. Well, it's gonna be still domey. Bit of a loss for proper wording today. Hope you will forgive me. As I bungle around trying to express myself. Alright, I think that's a solid enough foundation to go on. Yeah. Now let's go over to the first highlight. I'm gonna go real boring with this. Gonna highlight just the standard Citadel Fleshdown Triad. Hello, Harlequin. What's up? I think we'll listen to this track for a jabillion time now. It's possible. I've got it on shuffle, but mostly they're kind of very similar. Have you seen the progress? Yeah. On Insta? Probably not, but I checked the pics you sent on Facebook. They are looking solid. The lizards. Are you enjoying painting them? Or does it feel a little bit like a chore still? I think if I was painting 3rd edition. Really? Yeah, well, maybe. Theo, hello, welcome, and thank you for the follow. How's it going? There are more then. Okay, let's check them out. Just give me a second to get this. Need something like 1 hour more. Oh, very nice. Like, for the whole team? Morning light. Yeah, okay. So you don't paint on artificial lights, is that it? Or what? Oh, okay, gotcha. Yeah, that's the thing. Nice. Yeah, that's the pic I saw, I think. No, that's a different one. Gotcha. Why am I not following you? That's probably why I never saw it. Yeah, they are looking nice. You can tell the positionals apart. And they're solid sculpts, like, sweet. The ones I shared are finished. Alright, fair enough. Fair enough. Cool. Nice progress. For sure. There's even pictures with you, and you are not. No, it's I'm following you with my personal profile, but not with the channel profile. So I have two. And since I'm mostly just using the channel one, I'm not getting notifications for the other one. I was not planning on sharing. Oh, why not? I mean, you put a lot of work into it. It's only fair that you share. And they did come out really, really good. Not very active. It's all. I'm not very active there either. Should get to it, but when I finish this team, I'll do some more. I'll do a bunch of pictures and get to posting. Well, come on. You've been working on them for a while. It's not. It's definitely not nothing. Mostly covering them from dust. Well, still a thing. I've mentioned before that these guys were being in the dust for 3 years, I guess. I really like this ogre sculpt. The details are very well defined. It's really fun to highlight and just play around with it. Some of the details are completely lost with my layers of paint. Well, that's just a part of I mean, that'll fix itself with time, with experience about how thick to go and which parts need a second coat and which not. That was my idea. Older minis with less things to show would have been better. Oh, okay, now I understand. I thought it was just regarding the designs. but absolutely worry not. Worst case scenario, there are degreasers, and after you've done a few teams, you can go back and redo them. If you feel like it, like if it's an eyesore for you personally, you can go back and strip them and repaint them. I did come across yet another miniatures manufacturer that do interesting things that may find themselves useful on the Mordheim front. Because they are fairly simple designs. Painting just to have something painted to value while waiting. Yeah, I get that. It's fine. Yes, just a second. So the company is called Shield Wolf Miniatures. I'm gonna share their link as well. But this is what we're looking at. So this is more along the lines of Devcore of Krieg, and there is some desert stuff. They probably have an Imperial regiment that I just don't really know about. But what I was alluring to is, let's say, here in the Human Kingdom, you do get some interesting minis. Most notably, these Sisters of Taliarium. It would bother to load anytime. Yeah, I'll link the not too many things right now available. Service unavailable, screw you. But they do have a open Kickstarter right now, and even though they don't have a lot now, in time I think that their range will expand and will be a decent source of stuff. And also, while I have this open, I'm gonna show you something else I came across, which would be better snotlings for my ogres. Again from Mantic. Because they will be a lot better than having to cut apart the Mechanothralls. They still have a bit of a futuristic feel to them, and I can grind them up to become of a more necro-cyborgy type. And also there are more of them in a pack. Like, these are 14 dudes with 2. Yeah, they're kind of cute. They are Mantic, so they are supposed to be small in general, but as they are Mantic, they will be even smaller, and that'll put them in a perfect, scale. They should be half the size of, well, smaller than the Amazons that I got. Hey there, Snake, what's up? How you doing? So I'm gonna order those and save myself the trouble of having to convert metal figures. And the mechanothralls I'll just keep for a necromantic and undead team in the future. Good to hear, Snake. Good to hear. I am on the last model of this whole project, and I'm very stoked. Converting metal sounds metal. Hell yeah, it does. Yeah, but that's the, yeah, whatever, you know what it is. Yeah, last week, I did finish up what was left. Beach or beach bar? What? I'm alright. I'm dealing. I'm managing. Been a bit of a shit week last week, but it's a bit better now. Beach or beach bar? Not following. Yeah, I did finish off whatever was left of the few linemen, and I went over the first stages of doing the basing. Is the name of the beach or the name of a beach bar with which is there? Which is where, dude? Now I remember why I'm no longer interested in Gacha. Right. It just came up the day before, and I kind of like the alternative for Sigmarite Sisters and the beach in Bulgaria. Yo, what? I am not able to follow you, Snake. Something in the logic's construction just confuses me. It's the name of the beach. Beach bar. The beach in Bulgaria. The beach bar is just the name of the bar, as far as I know. It's not a name of a beach in and of itself. Hey there, Saima. What's going on? Prada is the name of the beach bar. It's alright. Ah, I got you now. Okay. Fair enough. Sorry about that, Snake. Doing good, Saima. I am finally on ogre duty. Finally there. I decided against the tattoo, but I will give him stubble and 5 o'clock shadow. Just going to be a bit of a nightmare to pull through. Did manage to finish my throwers during the weekend, so getting some progress of my own. Oh, good to hear. Nice. Any pictures yet? Or, not quite? By the way, Saima, if you are not following Snick here, do check him out. Awesome painter from Greece. He's doing it mostly one-offs, like display miniatures to a awesome level with some very, very creative scenic bases. It's alright, Snick. I always forget to do shoutouts. I am horrible at that. I'm sorry. With that being said, what have you been up to lately? In regards of the hobby. Had a minor incident after taking minis off the holders. Dropped the number 4 on the floor. Oh no! Hurt his helmet symbol a bit. And bent his pose to lean forward. Oh. Actually, my dark elves all suffer from that syndrome. The blitzers are on a single leg, mounted on the base, and since they are metal, it's very hard to keep them in an upright position after playing with them. So that's kind of the one downside of the dynamic poses. Oh, but it can be straightened out, so yeah, alright. It fixed the symbol, then the boots had paint crack from the bending. Bent him back, tied it up. Yeah, that sounds about right. Nice. It is a shame when it happens. I know just how your heart stops for a moment as you're seeing it happen and can't do anything about it in the middle of it happening. Similar thing happened to me on the World Cup back in, what was it? Well, when was the last one? 2019? Just as I was carrying my models, one of them fell, but it was a plastic model, so the model broke at the ankle. Thankfully, they had a booth with apothecary, so they fixed it up. Did also come back to do some extra shading and gold parts that isn't in the photos I shared. Okay, yep, fair enough. 2019. Good times. Yeah, it was really cool that they had this little booth with a dude that had some glue and glue accelerant and stuff, and could sort of make some quick fixes if something got broken. And it went well, like you can barely tell if you look at it right now. It was one of the Norse line women. Check the sideways. What's in the actual picture? That is a syringe. Can tell. Eager to see what you do with the same models I'm going to work with. Nice. Well, you already saw most of them. It's pretty much just the ogre that's left. And then a quick base job. But I'm feeling the same way too. Like, I really like the approach that you're taking. Like, I already mentioned that I really love the purple. And the separator for the multi-part paint scheme. Which halflings? Cut that side to show it is nearly empty. What? I think I'll mix non-metallic metal style painted armor with actual metal. Yeah, that would make sense because the ogre would have much more surface to play around with. Little night bling on the green. Okay. I'm probably gonna do the same, like, as in I'm gonna do just harsher reflective surfaces on the colored bits of the armor, and the rest is just gonna be true metallics. So not really non-metallic, just a little harsher highlights on the colored bits. I have no idea how it'll end up looking, but that would be fine. Catchers are pretty similar to the throwers too, same pants, same sliced sleeves. Thrower has, just for both arms, different chest plate, decoration, and helmets. Nice painting the throwers. Kinda helped me figure out how to paint them. Yeah, they are, you got the alternate designs to make them stand out. The ones that are actually technically closer to the Imperial Nobility that GW released, with the more fluffy, fluffed out kind of garments. They actually blend into the theme better. But I went with the standard style. There's nothing major wrong. No, it's the only reason that I didn't go with the alternatives was that they were just stylistically too different, which I thought would have been bad. But now that I look at the dudes with paint on them, they don't stand out as much. And they are separate positionals, so it would have made sense to make something that's a little bit more different sculpt-wise to tell them apart. So from that point, I think that, yeah, going with the alternatives was the better choice. Okay, so we're gonna go a little bit brighter on its flesh. And then we're gonna drill the shadows in. Okay, gotcha. Now I get it. Sorry. So we're gonna go with... Do we go with pure Cadian, or do we put in a little bit of Kislev and really crank it up? I think we... See how the pure Cadian would look, and then see if we'll need more. Do prefer to catch our alternative poses to the original, as they aren't the typical stretching to catch the ball type of lazy pace jogging pose. Absolutely, absolutely, I agree. I am not much of a fan of way too stretched out poses. So if I do get catchers for this team, I'll definitely go with the alternatives. Thanks, man. Yeah, I think we can go with the Kislev. Subtle transitions are all good and stuff, but at some point you actually have to make a difference in the hue. Snake, are you painting something right now? Or just chilling out? Nice! Care to share what? A base. Solid. Okay, let's give it a look-see look. Oh, damn, that's good. The stone and the moss. Brilliant. How did you do the ripples uh, on the water effect? How did you get the ripples to stay like this? Holy hell. That's amazing. Oh, it's the paste. So it's not clear resin. Interesting. Nice, though. Water gel transfer. Oh, okay. A mini troll would be cute there. Yeah. Ancient Greek hoplites. Nice. Is that the main mini? Did you 3D print it? I know you've been playing around with that. Resin, okay. All it got. Symbol of Gorgo. Now I am going to push the highlights on the chin and where the beard is going to go a little bit higher, because as I will be glazing the stubble and the 5 o'clock shadow, it'll probably bring them down a little bit, so I would need to over exaggerate them a little bit during this phase. You want to check the silly throwers? I did link them in the Brett Discord. My cam had a little trouble picking up the faces, but oh well, I'm gonna get decent photos when can call the team complete. Alright, we'll check them out. Yeah, and probably this weekend, or the next one, I'll probably actually get a proper little light box and start taking pictures of my own finally, because it has been a while. All right, there we go. Yeah, see how much different they are in terms of how they will So they will blend into the team, but they will also stand out as their own positionals. And I will show you the other ones. So, holy shit, did you paint the eyes inside of the helmets? Dear God. Dear God. That's insane. Yes, he did. Holy shit. Yeah, absolutely. So, to compare the design, this is how the standard ones would look. And if you put them next to a blocker, they kind of look the same, which detracts from the whole thing. They also have mustaches. Sweet. The tail from the guard. Yeah, exactly. They are very, very, very near. Side. So I'm gonna have to count on the base rim color coding to tell them apart, and the fact that they hold a ball. Thanks, man. The gold doesn't look like it does on the camera. And as I put down the matte finish, the matte varnish, it's gonna look a lot patchier and pretty much significantly worse, but that's how it goes. Protective guard with the shape of the mustaches. Yeah. Maybe. Yeah, actually the gold on the helmets is the one part I really don't like, how it came out, because it overpowers the yellow on the actual armor. And that yellow was supposed to be the yellow and the greens were supposed to be the focal points. And going with the gold. If I had kept it this dark gold up to a copper, it would have been better. But I honestly, at this point, cannot and will not be bothered. It is what it is. I have a feeling that highlights on this guy aren't strong enough. They will disappear once I place the stubble. Let's see. Before that, we will, however, drill some deeper shadows into him with a little bit of purple. Here and there. Now I could play around here and go for because it is a big enough face to warrant going through the triad of colors for face. Let me just bring up the guide, and if you don't have it, I will send it to you if you want to make use of it. So it is technically big enough to make use of this, but I'm probably not gonna. And by probably, I mean definitely. But it is an interesting guide to have. If anyone's interested, I can link it to keep as a reference if you're interested. But I'm waiting on larger models to apply it. Really doesn't make sense for gaming miniatures. Water is changed. Yes, I did change it. Might be handy. Yeah, I was debating whether or not to use it. Do the shortfall. Nah, I just remembered that it became a topic of discussion and used it. You want to hint the stubble under the eyes? Yeah, yep. This is generally for undertones on the face, so not necessarily for stubble, but yeah. You could do it as undertones or as glazes. You can mix in just a hint of the paint. Where did I put it? So here's the link. In case it may be helpful, and if not, I just pretty much share anything that I come across that might be sort of cool. Okay, let's see now. It's gonna be a pretty strong tone. Or not strong enough, weirdly enough. Okay. It looked like bad tutorial for clown makeup. Not exactly, but if that's how you see it. The idea is that you put these color tones into whatever paint you're doing for the face itself. And this is based on blood flow circulation to make it look more realistic. You got your yellows around the temple and the blues around the chin. Changes the warmth, yeah. And there is also a separate one, but I couldn't find it for a female face, where the blue on the chin is not as pronounced. It is just a visual aid that I was looking for a while ago. Get the idea, still look like... yeah, alright. No worries, dude. It's alright. I'm honestly just being preoccupied with the face here, because I expected the purple to be a little bit deeper and make the shadows harsher than they were before, but instead they are getting a little bit washed out, and that sort of annoys me a little bit. But I'm gonna fix it with maybe a deeper shade of purple. It's gonna be alright. But yeah, just it didn't work out exactly how I planned it. And I'm just thinking about how to fix it, that's all. Don't mind me. There are quite a few here. EBM, Darkwave, Electro. Oh, which one? I'm personally following the Communion After Dark. They have a YouTube podcast that comes out weekly. Because they tend to feature music that's recent, that's new, instead of the classic playlists that we all know from the 90s and even the 80s. DJ Slave 1, let me actually give him a quick follow before I forget, because I am looking for sources for music. Only funny thing, she is streaming mainly in the morning. Yeah, who knows? maybe I'll manage to catch her at some point. Does she have VODs? Or she probably deletes them. Ah, she's got VOD. No, just highlights. Boo. Oh well. Nice. This one is a bit older stuff with a modern twist. Oh, okay, so actual DJ work. Nice. Bash Mode, Sisters of Mercy, and so on. Alright, definitely we'll give it a shot. Would work nicely as I'm having my coffee in the morning. Billy Idol, yeah, that's actually something that's actually music that does tie into the whole theme that really you don't really get to hear a lot in this context. Considering he does have an album that is straight out called Cyberpunk. Yeah, but I mean that as is. Like, if you take it as is, still works well. There we go. Okay. Maybe a little bit too strong. This is always the case with me. Every time I say I want to build solid contrast, and then I chicken out, and then I overdo it, and then I chicken out and refurbish it back into something. What it was. I never go all the way with what I actually want to pull off. Probably because I don't have the skill for it, but that's a different topic in and of itself. Especially when you love the original and the new version is dancier. Yep. Dancier. And you can check out Communion After Dark if you haven't. Just seeing some newer stuff if you're interested. They usually come out on Tuesdays. So tomorrow would be a good time to check it out. Crankier. Okay, okay. On their main site. Yeah, they do have a site. But I don't know if they upload their stuff there. On the site, they actually have recipes for shots, which is just a cool little extra. From today. Oh, okay, so they uploaded it earlier. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Blend those with a little bit more fleshy bits. There is even a playlist by DJs. Oh, solid. I usually just listen to them on YouTube. They are on Mixcloud as well, but that's just not a comfortable. I'm not used to using it, is the thing. I think I just should have skipped the whole purple thing and stayed with the wash. Now it looks a bit goofy. Oh. Okay. Let's say that's enough of that. In uncomfortable underground. SoundCloud look weird. Yeah. It has cool stuff in it. I'm just not used to using it. Now let's go for the stubble. maybe a light blue in the main. So not the mid-tone, but maybe the highlights. Don't tend to listen to any specific songs. Yeah, especially if we're talking about that style in particular, I usually go for just a long set, something long format that I have on the in the background, because it's a lot of independent musicians that put out way too much stuff for me to follow along. For other styles, I do follow particular bands and stuff like that. But for electronic stuff, it's very rare that I remember a name of a singer or a band or a particular piece. And I would love to play it on stream, but Universal and Warner Music said no. Can't be doing that. But Streambeats is coming up with a rock playlist, I think in March or April. So there will be a little bit of diversity. DJs have some sort of agreement to play their remixed music on Twitch. Yeah, but I think they actually own rights. We talked about this with Sudsy Sutherland. He said that DJs actually have some sort of license that allows them to do that. I think. Tempted to try toying with sun-battered skin in the ogre. Okay, yeah. Classic barbarian art. That would be nice. And again, you can see that there are a lot of crevices, a lot of deep recesses on the sculpt. So it should work out pretty well. And of course the big dome that you have to play around with as well. Which in his case is more of a cone-shaped noggin. Oh, for sure. That goes without question. License, that sounds right, but aren't these local or from Twitch? They are from the... Twitch doesn't have licenses. Twitch is currently just being tossed around and kind of unable to deal with anything at this point. No, with the artists, with the rights holders, to be precise. Because that's not always the artists. But it's something specific. I'm not sure how that works. But apparently it is a thing that exists. And you can tell a dying industry where you can see nonsense. Yeah, so there was an interesting video on the topic, like why this came to be. The MCAs for playing a game. Yeah, that's insane. But the reasoning is that both big rights owners, Universal and Warner, made a killing when they did that on YouTube, because what it does is it takes the monetization of the YouTube video and it transfers it to the person who raised the copy claim, right? Or the instance, the entity that raised the claim, which is awesome because it generates revenue. But on Twitch, that doesn't work like that. You have very, very small revenue from ads that are being played, so they are actually not getting anything. They're literally just being dicks, but they didn't know that. But it's gonna stay until they figure out something. And by they have to collaborate with Twitch, and it's gonna be nice to turn off the Sabaton patch. Yeah, and there was this thing with Cyberpunk 2077 when it came out. Even though it had a stream-friendly option in the music, it still had a few tracks that were caught by robots and were claimed. But that was addressed by CD Projekt Red almost immediately. They just said that certain locations need to be muted, but it's still way too much trouble than what it's worth, if you ask me. Some consumer protection to take on and give reality check to them. That is true, but in our world of rampant and unchecked, uncontrollable capitalism and consumerism, I think we are past that point at this point, and I don't really want to get too much into it, but I think we're kind of screwed on this front. It spreads. There are very few places that have remained untouched. But on principle, you are right. Like, there needs to be some sort of reality check at some point that this isn't gonna do. If just blue will work. It's supposed to be self-checking. Now that's a lie. Now again, this is the important bit where we're not just talking the general concept of it, talking about its extreme variant that is trying to take hold. Shit. But anyway. Things get worse or other places become better. Off we go. Well, there are none left. And get penalized for abuse of the sort. Yeah, it would be. Would be cool. Meanwhile, I am making an absolute mess of this. It is what it is. Do not open the link, just to make my point. Turbo future site like Twitch TV. Yeah, actually there is one that is or was contending at some point for Twitch. It was Mixer, and it still works. Like, it's still out there. But it's kind of like the whole Epic debacle when, you know, one of the bigger Twitch streamers went over to Mixer, and people thought it was going to be the next big thing, but they are just not supporting their creatives at all. And discoverability is even worse than it is on Twitch and YouTube, so it's really not a valid alternative, at least not yet. Yeah, I think this is the maybe because it's meant for more mobile users or something, but I couldn't make heads or tails of it either. I tried it. I was thinking about moving there or just giving it a shot, but nah. Nah. Linking Discord accounts to Mixer account. Oh, okay, that's fine. As far as I know, you can do that with Twitch as well, but it's a bit of a more difficult thing, and it's per channel. Actually never got the gist of that, but yeah, there are options. Okay, the stubble on the head actually doesn't look too horrible, I think. It's kind of decent. Oh, looking at this this dude's head, I came across a indie game that is kind of like the older GTAs, if you remember GTA 1 and 2 with the top-down perspective, only it was put in medieval times, but it also had contemporary references, like the horses were parked in like chalked out sections with a blue P sign on them. Look kind of cute. It's called Rustler. Not sure if it's out or if it's still in beta or early access. But if you're into that kind of thing, I think humor seems to be kind of fresh. Nice, yeah. I do also have very fond memories of the second one. Never played the first one, but the second one is one of the first games I played on PC. Okay, I think that's gonna do it. Maybe just a little bit more on the back. Well, just give me a second and I will actually give you a link to the video that I used to find the game. Check it out if it's something you might like. Because I'm watching this channel now for indie games, and quite a few good ones do appear to at least be in early access, so something to keep an eye out for. Thank you. Yeah, this time it did. Our English was terrible, so we weren't sure what. Yeah. I absolutely know what you mean. Pretty worse version. Well, actually, it wasn't that much worse from what I saw in terms of screenshots. Alright, I think the face can be called. Yeah, okay. I'm calling it done before I manage to ruin it. So what was I? It was way bulkier, both visually. Oh yeah, maybe a bit closer, zoomed closer in or something. So this is the video of a reviewer that's going through the game that I'm talking about. If it sounds anything remotely interesting, you can give it a looky look. Or save it for later. How we doing on time? Solid. Okay, so I'm gonna go for just a couple minutes to take a quick break. Because that face was kind of nerve-wracking. And then I'll be back and do other stuff. So be back in a few. And I'm back. Looks beyond the computer. Well, maybe this one, but for the next one, I don't know. Also, these are indie games, so they shouldn't be like resource hogs or anything. Maybe I should bring a little bit more flesh down into the cheekbones, the jawbone. Like the tiniest bit, because it's getting a bit on the actual blue side of things. These models have a lot to learn from. For what? Which models, dude? Okay, I think that'll do it. What is what detail? You mean for the game or these particular sculpts? Sorry, I'm having a bit of trouble today, apparently. Trying to learn models before painting, so do kind of know what stuff. Oh yeah, absolutely. I think we talked about it. This is one of the reasons why we usually go for the gray primer instead of the black. Although for the next project, just for the shits and giggles of it, I'm gonna try and do it from black primer and see if I can make heads or tails. What the hell is supposed to be what? Gonna be interesting. But yeah, I saw, so Dr. Faust's miniature clinic, I think was the call. He's a very, very revered painter from times of old. But what he used to do is give a heavy dry brush over the models after the prime job. Faust AS quality. Yeah, and he was actually streaming. I'm not sure if he's still streaming or he went back to just YouTube videos, but there was a point in time where he gave Twitch a try. Either way, what he used to do, what I saw him do once or twice, was after giving it a black primer, he went with a very heavy dry brush. Zenitho as well. Yeah, Zenitho as well. That was before Zenitho became a more predominant thing to try out. But yeah, absolutely. And the best part is that it highlights each and every seam and mold line that you did not clear up. Rotating model and try to think is what it's... yeah. Should be. But just the amount of times where I've been almost certain that I've cleaned the model and then painted it back on, and it just went to shit. Discovering all sorts of mold lines that I didn't clean up, and yeah. But I do feel your pain, absolutely. Like that ogre does have a leather boot shoving from behind the guard. Oh god, no, don't tell me. Oh yeah, he does. Oh no. You're right. You're totally right. Yes, 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 yes. Right here. You can see it. Right here. Yeah, there it is. Ah, god damn it. Why did you have to tell me? No. Doesn't matter. I take artistic license. It's all metal. Artistic license. I don't care. Right, let's play around with the red. This should be fairly quick. Worry about that stuff more than what colors I'm gonna use. Yeah, when it's pronounced, I absolutely feel you. And sometimes it would have made a model better, like the blitzers on the GW humans team. They actually have leather gloves that are fingerless gloves, and I found that out way too late, and I was really pissed off because that would have made the hand look significantly better if I had seen it. So yeah, I get that. All in the details. Yeah, like in this case, it is fairly hidden, and even if you did paint it, with the leather straps that are over here, it really isn't going to bring that much to addition, but in the case of the humans, yeah, it would have made a difference. It was also hard to figure the throwers. I had never seen them painted by anyone. Core team I've seen. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's true. That's why I kind of like getting models that are a bit niche. Not the most widespread ones. I am still getting comments on my YouTube videos about the manufacture of the Norse team. And that's kind of nice. Because they are nice alternative sculpts, all in all. And I feel good trying to expand the reach of it. Yeah, just a truly blank slate. Start off on. Especially for Blood Bowl. Like the dwarves as well, I haven't seen many people have them or paint them, so it's gonna be interesting, although they do have references, as did the Norse. But yeah, it's kind of cool. And it is giving exposure to creators and sculptors that you like, that other people may find out about. Yes, I saw that. Even though the sculpts themselves don't look particularly, I don't know, they're not bland, but they are not as interesting as, let's say, the orcs were, or the Bretts and the humans, and the Amazons. Like, they kind of lack a little bit of that Grebo character that we've grown accustomed to seeing, in my opinion, but they are rough sketches, and maybe by the time they come up with the actual 3D sculpts, that will be a whole different thing. But it's pretty hard to get dwarves to look characterful outside of what you would expect to see out of them, I think. Apart from going in a very different direction, like making them... The Walker Roller is a neat design, yeah. But it does very much resemble the Yedaro one. Like, their sculpts for now, for their sketches, the one that they released, really made me think of the Yedaro dwarves. Blitzers do have Asterix-style winged helmets, long beards. Yeah. There were, I think they were, but a bit harder to... I think the whole team was there. Maybe it was just a bit more difficult to tell. I don't know. At any rate, it will be better when they start releasing the 3D renders. But at any rate, I already have my dwarves, so I'm not gonna be taking part in that Kickstarter. As much as I do like Grebo stuff. Don't care too much about dwarfs, but these Grebo ones are coming in Greeblood. Yeah, that's gonna be an interesting thing. Have you heard of anyone who's actually gotten Greeblood stuff? Or have they not implemented the service yet for the other things? Okay, it's alright. Yeah, I think that they are something along the lines of a 3D printing service. Because that's pretty much how I imagine it from their own description. Like, being able to produce dynamic poses in one piece, and being somewhat sensitive to heat and light. I suppose it's gonna be something related to 3D printing. But as a service that they themselves are providing. So that they do the all the parameters and do it right. Which is cool. I'm not bashing it in any way. And that's kind of how it sounds. I think I mentioned this before, but still waiting for vampires. Yeah. RN Studio has been releasing their stuff as STLs. And I might pick up some things. They have really good sculpts that are a little bit on the more expensive side, so if you could print them yourself or get someone to print them for you, it would be a pretty good deal. They look very crisp. Keiji got his necro from the Punga. Oh, okay. Solid. Vampires may be redone. Yeah, that's a thing. But even if they are, we've seen companies adapt fairly quickly to provide the alternative, the extra sculpts or positionals, so I don't think it's gonna be much of a problem. And they do. Like, Grebo and Willy reacted immediately. With the orcs and black orcs. I have a bunch of stuff coming in that Kickstarter. If I ever need more, I bet Bunga will also release expansions. Excellent. That's exactly it. Yep. And so did Hungry Troll, was it? The ones that did the Monty Python, the Holy Grail Bretonians. They also have an expansion now to convert the models to Imperial Nobility. So yeah, companies are taking this into account and are reacting fairly quickly. The ones also for the Underworld Steam, the one that was on the World Cup, they also have an expansion. Unlike the GW and their 50k. Yes, absolutely. Yeah, that's true. They are a little bit behind the times. But they still hold very high a bar in terms of quality and design to some extent. But, you know, so expensive that they don't want to make more than it's needed. That is true. Yeah, also they have always been pushing for multiple boxes of the same thing, which I never understood. Well, I understand it from a business perspective. I don't like it as a hobbyist. Having to buy a third of an extra team, a bit much. It's a niche game, that is true. third party sets such a high bar for competition. Yeah, but that is entirely GW's fault. Like, they were the ones who decided to cancel their specialist games, and now they have to play catch up after a decade of not putting out anything outside, and sadly completely forgetting how to play the game, apparently, judging by some of the game changes that they made. But that's being a bit too salty. And of course, there's the Forge World bullshit, where a single star player costs about the amount of a whole team, which is a bit mental. More salt. I don't want to be salty, man. Did expand it to 2 unique sprues a team. That would go a long way. Yeah. And that's interesting because out of the niche games, I think Blood Bowl is the biggest. So if anyone should get that treatment, it should be Blood Bowl, but that is just me thinking it, I think. Well, me and people that play it, apparently, of course, but you know. Or ogres. Yeah. What about the expansion for orcs? Yeah, that was stupid. And the humans one was stupid as well. Like, again, it didn't give you the full positionals. 2 expansions to get your models, yeah, which cost you more than it would have cost you to get 1 box of humans. Yeah. They had like 1 runner, was it? 1 catcher instead of 2. Three blitzers. Yeah, okay, so it had 1 blitzer. Ridiculous. Oh well, it is what it is. Thankfully, we do have all of the third-party manufacturers that do wonderful models. So that's not really an issue that you need to be concerned with unless you really want to. You play, take hiatus, come back. True. Gonna be alright. Yeah. It's gonna be fine. Meanwhile, I'm going to start looking for models for undead and necromantic team. That will be in a like the ogres, a necro cyborg kind of theme. Because I will be basing them on the mechanothralls from Privateer Press, because I really like their look as zombies or skeletons to be used for any of those two teams. And there are some cool 3D printable stuff for flesh golems, so I'm gonna be looking around for other things like that. And it's gonna be a bash of different models and different manufacturers, and it could be fun. Let's see if I still... I probably deleted them. Let me show you those, unless you already know them. Oops. No. It's these feathers. Without the big guys. I didn't get the big guys, although they would have made pretty solid flesh golems. So I just got the smaller ones. But they're so cute, and they really would tie into a nice theme for an unusual undead or necro team. So I will have to build 2 teams around these guys. We'll see. I was gonna use them for snotlings, but I found a better option. Not snotlings. No, it's not even Blood Bowl. It's from War Machine. I just really liked the models, and they're snotlings. The snotlings are wonderful. No, I meant runts for an ogre's team. That's what I meant. But yeah, they're just the mechanothrows from Privateer Press, from Crix, and I'll have to look and find other models to tie in to the theme. It'll be good. I mean, not much. They are trying to push their Warcaster game, so a new IP. It's alright, but it's a little bit too generic, which is sad because they had some very good original designs for both War Machine and Hordes. And what they came up with now really doesn't look that inspiring. I would still pick up a few things just for the sake of it, but... Warjacks to learn ways of airbrush. Absolutely, they are very, very conductive to be painted with. an airbrush. And to play around with smooth transitioning with an airbrush. I agree 100%. And as a matter of fact, they were my first attempts at using an airbrush. Now that I think about it. Way back when. But I do like a lot of their models, and I try to incorporate them in different games. Even if they're not the actual intended model. And while I'm on the subject, I might as well show you the models that I did decide to use for the ogres, snotlings, or grunts, or whatever they're called right now. I can't remember. Yep. They are from Mantic. So you can be sure that they are pretty tiny. But I think they look pretty cool. I'd already forgot I ordered some. Oh really? Holy shit, wow, yeah. Yeah, especially if you order directly from Privateer Press, because they're in the States and all that. And my actual ogres will be coming, are already here, and they are from scale 75 models. Did make the order via local GameStar. Okay, yeah. But still, yeah, if they are shipping from the main place, yeah, it does take a while. And these models are going to be what I use for the ogres themselves. The behemoths. They look easy enough to convert with just snipping off the guns on the arms, and they're ready to go essentially. So it's going to be one hell of a Frankenstein's monster of a Blood Bowl team. With models from 2 manufacturers and so on. But I think it'll look good at the end. Once I get started. They do need a little bit of extra conversion because they are 2 packs of 3 ogres. And I need to do some tweaks in the posing in order to avoid the mono... Well, it's not going to be monopose, but there will be double poses because they are 3 in a pack. Each 3 are unique, but 2 boxes means 3 pairs. Yeah, looking through stuff. Picking out. Right, so what else? We can go to the shading part of this, and I think after that we're gonna call it. Possibly. Oh, no, I have an idea. Probably next time, though. So something else I wanted to do is clean up some of the base rims on the other dudes. After applying the basing material, I did make a little bit of a mess, as you can see. Let's try and clean this up. I will be applying some patches of grass here and there, but nothing to see. Yeah, absolutely. That's why I didn't give it too much of a thought. Just, I do need to get through it at some point. And it might as well be now. I've got some red on the palette. And I don't think I'll be able to do anything on the ogre today. Anything else that I can start and finish. So I'll probably leave it for Wednesday. I think I'll be able to go through most of them. Probably leave a little bit of the metallics. And then start of March, we can move on to another project. That'll be fun. And it's gonna be a really free-flowing project, like just picking out colors, painting mini for mini. It's gonna be a little bit of fun. Absolutely, yeah. For their price, for something that's actually natural sable, it's pretty decent. But it is only the regiment size. Character is a bit too small, and Psycho is absolutely useless, I think. Like, you can use character here and there, but Psycho is useless. But the regiment brush is really good. Oh, really? Okay. They do vary from batch to batch. I had another regiment, but it couldn't get a tip nearly as sharp as this one. And with a sharp tip, it's kind of better than a character. But again, as you said, for the price point, they are solid. And I really like the handle as well. Really comfortable handle, and I also have extras. Yes. I do want to try the Igniters by Monument Hobbies, their version of the sable brushes, but I have to wait for a decent European retailer, because right now they are stuck with Element Games, and that's not good for me. And I'm not gonna order from the States, that's just ridiculous. Maybe if I put actually some more paint, that'll help things along. Did have problems with the first regimental with coming to a point. Yeah, cleaning, and yeah, I think that batches, just some batches are better than others. I don't know. Either way, they are fine. And are also accessible in my region, as in local stores still carry them here and there. So if I'm in a bind and I need to get it quickly, they are always a reliable choice. Oh, I really messed these bases up. Brush soap. Yeah, maybe because I wasn't using brush soap back then. I used the first one. I don't know. Could they? Very well be. Going for the number in the box. Wait, what? Ah, yeah, the black squares, yeah. Because I'm gonna go with white, colored decals, whatever. And I want them to stand out. With that being said, I have drawn the boxes a little bit horrendously. Besides the point. Also, it does give the numbers themselves a little bit of a uniformity in terms of feel across the other colors of bases. As in, if you have a black box, it's going to read the same regardless if it's on a green rim or a white rim and so on. It's alright, I think. But I'm not gonna go through the hassle of hand painting the numbers. I'm just not confident enough. I think you show the decals. Yeah, possibly. I'm forgetting what I did and didn't show it this time. Because it has taken me a little bit too much time to get through those guys. Still okay, considering, but could have been a bit more. Could have run a tighter ship. Oh yeah, we did talk about how I'm gonna build the numbers that are larger than 16, because they don't come. For this one. So because the holders are smaller in diameter than the actual bases, I ended up putting my fingers way too much on the actual base rims, and I managed to chip off some of the paint. That's annoying. So now I have to repair them. I need to make a find with synthetics. Yeah, there is something I think that they are all missing to note, however, because out of these 12 packs that they're all blabbering about, I am sure that no more than 3 or 4 are actually usable. The other ones just fray immediately. They all have mostly brushes bundled. Yeah. Targeted bundles. But do you really need bundles or just a single, like, size? couple of sizes, just a few models of them. Da Vinci's are pretty solid, I think. Yeah. These ones are pretty alright. Milan brushes. Pretty good tip. Good belly. And they are on the cheap side, but they are still pretty good in terms of quality. 611 is the series model. Yeah, it's alright. It does have a leading... You can't see it because I probably clipped it. They do have a leading hair, a guiding hair, which is a bit annoying. But apart from that, and they're really soft. They don't have a spring. Let me wait and moisten it and show you. But they don't have a spring that usually comes with the synthetic bristles. They're really soft. So for a cheap one, I think that's a pretty good option. From what I have come across, if you want really stiff but holding a good point, these ones are solid stuff. These are Da Vinci Biosners. But they have really long handles, like something this long that you need to cut off. I haven't seen them available, but if you can get them, they're pretty solid. Here's the number 2. It does have a few flayed hairs, but this one's a brush I've been banging on for 3 or 5 months. So they are pretty resilient to abuse. Like this that I don't mind destroying with metal paints or similar rough uses. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, gotcha. I don't really know of any like really cheap, really throwaway brushes that actually do work though, because most of those are just really throwaway stuff. Like you can't use them for shit. So I tend to go in this mid-grade, middle grade, middle of the road level of quality, and just use less brushes. Kind of take a little bit of care of the synthetics. So far I've been pretty okay with it. Okay, yeah. We always need more. That is a given. Can never have enough models, never have enough brushes, and never have enough time to put them to use. Blood stuff, and then trying out some Sable thing going on about how quick they wear under his use, yeah. But he is applying the like the heavy body acrylic and oils type approach where you really smash the paint on the model, which is something that you would see on canvas style painting, and the brushes that are used for canvas painting are much more resilient than the ones that we use anyway, so you can understand his position. Yeah, watercolors actually are a lot softer, I think. You don't abuse the brush as much with watercolors. Heavy bodied acrylics and heavy oils is where the real damage is dealt. But I might be wrong. I'm no artist. I want it to be, though. Back in my youth. Well, youth, I mean, in childhood. Yeah, but you sort of need to develop more, even more motor memory. Like, you need to automate yourself even more in order to get to do that. But yeah, I get you. Jimmy the Brush sort of advocates the same approach. Just throw paint at it and then refine. But like you, I just can't break myself to that point yet. Start trying. I like things being segmented into pieces, into easily digestible spaces of real estate, deal with it and move along, which is a very non-artistic approach to it, much more craftsmanshipy. But it's easier for me. Alright. I think I lost focus. Taking photos of your work. Oh yeah, that's That's actually a two-edged sword, though. Because you think to yourself, sometimes that things that you're very proud of while making them, then you take a photo of it, you zoom it in, and you find out just how horrible it really is, and you're like, damn, no. Oh yeah. But yeah, you're right for that. Absolutely, in principle, it is brutal. That's not true, dude. Like, again, your stuff is alright. It's solid for what you're trying to do. It's solid colors, it's where you want them to be, and you've got the transitions that come naturally from the contrast paint, so props for that. Alright guys, I think I will be calling it for tonight. Because I'm kind of just messing about things right now. I'm not really doing anything constructive. Thanks for coming along as usual. Thank you for sticking around and chatting around. Oh yes, I did. I watched his White Scars video, and now I watched the one for his studio. That also gave me some ideas for my disc. So yeah, I will be looking at more of his stuff. So yeah, thanks for that shout out. It's definitely gonna come in handy. But yeah, alright guys, I'll be back on Wednesday, painting black and white and contrast on top. Yep. And that's a solid one. Bye bye guys, keep doing what you love and loving what you do. I've been Bachicolio, and I will be signing out. Bye bye, see you next time.